There is a whole literature, both fictional and nonfiction, that deals with the totalitarian regimes of the 20th century. And in those regimes, you have one characteristic, one feature is the show trial. The show trial is the bogus trial in which a political dissident is made to publicly confess to things that they believe, to ideological crimes against the state. They essentially plead guilty by saying, yeah, I deserve the sentence that's coming to me. I deserve to be executed. I deserve to be incarcerated. And typically they pronounced some sort of a conversion. I've now seen the error of my ways. So this was done in the Stalin show trials. This has been done in Chinese show trials. This is a staple of authoritarian and totalitarian regimes. Now, I say all this as a kind of background to what is happening now with, in this case, a January 6th defendant. And this is a guy named Thomas Sibbick. Thomas Sibbick. He was appearing before Judge Amy Jackson, by the way, an Obama appointee, a left-winger, and he wants to get some lenient treatment, or I wouldn't say that lenient, but he wanted basically to get out of incarceration and be sent home pending his trial. And Judge Jackson agrees. She releases Thomas Sibbick to the custody of his parents. He obviously is under kind of a house arrest. He's got to stay away from DC and political rallies. He apparently has been given some psychiatric treatment. Whoa, that sounds a little bit familiar to me. That was part of my sentence. He can't watch any political TV programming or do social media. But the idea that he's being let out of the sort of deplorables jail is the key point here. And the question is why? What did this guy do to deserve this kind of leniency? You might think, well, the judge is finally seeing the light and trying to be fair. Not at all. It's because this guy wrote a sycophantic letter that his lawyer triumphantly submitted to the judge, declaring that he has had a political conversion. That's the actual phrase that his lawyer used. He's had a political conversion. And what's very interesting is this guy, Thomas Sibbick, who was an enthusiastic Trump supporter, said he now, quote, loathes Trump. He hates Trump. And two, Trump should be, quote, ostracized from society. Trump should be made into an outcast. Let me read the relevant sentence. While many praise Trump, I loathe him. His words and actions are nefarious, causing pain and harm to the world. He is not a leader and should be ostracized from any political future. What he honestly needs to do is go away. So think of what music this is to the ears of the judge. And I don't really blame Thomas Sibbick. He's actually just, he's a weak individual who is basically, he's just kissing the feet of the judge. Yeah, he's saying that 2 + 2 is 5. I don't even know if he's sincere about the conversion. But see, for what Judge Jackson is doing is she wants the abasement. She wants to be able to point to it and say, see, this guy has now seen the light. And the implication here that his lawyer tells the judge is that, there's a very toxic environment in the jail. Why is it toxic? It's toxic because, quote, the people in the jail, the January 6th defendants, sing the Star-Spangled Banner every night. Apparently, according to Sibbick's lawyer, this is a kind of indoctrination. He needs to get away from that kind of, quote, cult-like atmosphere. And here's again the Brennenwald, who is Sibbick's lawyer. His mental thought process has changed a lot, he's telling the judge. I'm not saying he's a liberal. I'm not saying he's an Elizabeth Warren fan, but his mindset has changed so much that he had to get out of that unit. So the implication here is that this guy is coming over to our side. Let's not keep him in the jail where they might actually get to him and keep him in the Trumpian world that he was before. Let's release him so he can now be one of us. Maybe he can be interviewed sometime on CNN or MSNBC. So this public ritual of repentance is really the whole point of what's going on here. This is the kind of thing, as I say, it's a staple of authoritarian societies. We should not be blind when we see the same kind of thing, maybe under a different guise. Here it's under the guise of the formalities of law. Yes, it is true that when you make this kind of public abasement, you get lenient treatment in return. But notice, don't miss the ideological significance here. What you have is a groveling individual, a kind of Winston right out of, 1984, Orwell's book, And what he's doing is he's submitting to his interrogators, he's begging for mercy, and the judge is granting him some mercy. Why? Because she wants to really strike out not against poor Thomas Civic. She really wants to strike out against one Donald J. Trump.